It's already been a week since the FIA confirmed that Red Bull did indeed breach the cost cap. While that is shocking news to hear for everyone, what is even more shocking is that the FIA has yet to come to a decision as to how they intend on punishing Red Bull. The long wait on the FIA's verdict has made Mclaren CEO Zak Brown restless, so he has decided to write a lengthy letter to the FIA about how he thinks Red Bull should be punished. So, how does Zak want the FIA to deal with the situation? Well, let's talk about it then. But before we do, consider subscribing to the channel so you don't miss out on our latest uploads. Now that's out of the way, let's get started. Many fans and F1 teams assume by now that talks are ongoing between Red Bull and the FIA about the situation, something that isn't new to everyone who has followed the sport for quite some time. A case in point would be how the Ferrari super engine was dealt with in 2019, where the team just suddenly lost all their pace after having discussions with the FIA. And this is exactly why Zak Brown has written to the FIA to let it be known that this matter should not be brushed under the carpet. The overspend breach and possibly the procedural breaches constitute cheating by offering a significant advantage across technical, sporting, and financial regulations, said Zak. The bottom line is any team who was overspent has gained an unfair advantage, both in the current and following year's car development. This letter was initially supposed to be sent privately to FIA President Mohammed Ben Sulayem and F1 CEO Stefano Domenicali last week, but the contents of it was leaked after Zak had also sent it to all the teams that were compliant of the cost cap regulations. This includes Mercedes, Ferrari, Alpine, Alfa Romeo, Haas, and Williams. In the said letter, Brown would express his faith in the FIA and what the governing body has done so far to police the cost cap, but would argue that there was no excuse for any team to overspend, given that they were all given time in 2020 to rehearse and ask about their coming spending limits. The FIA has run an extremely thorough, collaborative, and open process. We have even been given a one-year dress rehearsal with ample opportunity to seek any clarification if details were unclear, so there is no reason for any team to now say they are surprised, he said. Brown would then continue by saying that he believes that a sporting penalty is the proper way to deal with the situation, and not let Red Bull off with just a fine. We don't feel a financial penalty alone would be a suitable penalty for an overspend breach or a serious procedural breach. There clearly needs to be a sporting penalty in these instances, as determined by the FIA, said Brown. We suggest that the overspend should be penalized by way of a reduction to the team's cost cap in the year following the ruling, and the penalty should be equal to the overspend plus a further fine, i.e. an overspend of $2 million in 2021, which is identified in 2022, would result in a $4 million deduction in 2023. $2 million to offset the overspend, plus $2 million fine. For context, $2 million is 25 to 50% upgrade to annual car development budget, and hence would have a significant, positive, and long-lasting benefit. In addition, we believe there should be minor overspend sporting penalties of a 20% reduction in CFD and wind tunnel time. These should be enforced in the following year, to mitigate against the unfair advantage the team has and will continue to benefit from. To avoid teams accumulating and benefiting from the multiplier effect of several minor overspend breaches, we suggest that a second minor overspend breach automatically moves the team to a major breach. Finally, given the financials involved, a 5% threshold of a minor overspend breach seems far too large of a variance. We suggest a lower threshold, 2.5%, is more appropriate. And to end his letter, Zak would firmly demand that the FIA be 100% transparent with how they are dealing with Red Bull's situation, as he believes that the future of the cost cap regulations, and the future F1 for that matter, depends on it. Now we understand the spending situation of various teams, we must communicate subsequent action and penalties at pace to maintain the integrity of F1 and the rules it abides by, he said. It is paramount that the cost cap continues to be governed in a highly transparent manner. both in terms of the details of any violations and related penalties. It will also be important to understand if, after the first full year of running and investigating the scheme, there needs to be further clarity on certain matters or any key learnings. Again, any insights or learnings should be shared across all teams. There can be no room for loopholes. I am in total agreement with Martin. In fact, the cost cap introduction has been one of the main reasons we've attracted new shareholders and investors to F1 in recent years, as they see it as a way to drive financial and sporting fair play. It is therefore critical that we be very firm on implementing the rules of the cost cap for the integrity and the future of F1. And while Zak is obviously starting to get impatient about the situation, Mercedes' team boss Toto Wolff would show some understanding to the governing body. Toto would say that he too is eager to know how the situation pans out, but says that he wouldn't want to be part of the deciding panel himself. I tell you, I don't want to be in the shoes of the judges to judge on that, said Toto. Drivers are driving their guts out in order to be on top. There are decisions that the team takes that they're not involved in, but still, in the end, you sit in a car that is made on steroids. It's such a tough call, and I wouldn't want to make a judgment call. To be honest, my thinking isn't so far. It's more about the principle of how this is going to pan out in the future. How robust are these regulations? How are they going to be enforced and policed? How is the governance process going to run? Because we don't know, when it goes to the adjudication panel, how the judges will decide. And then it is a learning by doing for all of us. The lengthy delay about how much did Red Bull exactly overspend and what will be the FIA's verdict has made many analysts and news sites come up with theories as to what made the team over the limit. Ziggo Sports in the Netherlands would report that Newey's employment with Red Bull may be the cause. In the cost cap regulations, the 3 highest earning members of an F1 team do not count in their budget cap, which is exactly what the news sites cite as their reason for their theory. It probably has to do with Adrian Newey, the report claims. Newey is one of the top 3 earners in the team, and the debate is over whether Newey is a Red Bull employee or a name on loan through his own company. Red Bull says he is employed by us, so he's not included in the budget cap because he's one of the 3 highest paid names. The FIA said, no, he was hired through his company, so he comes from outside, so he should be included in the budget cap. But then again, Red Bull has still been adamant that they still believe that they did not breach the cost cap. I don't want to say too much, just this much, Helmut Marko told F1 Insider. We still believe that we didn't break the cost cap rule at all. Discussions with the FIA are ongoing. Let's see what finally comes out of it. And there you have it, guys. So do you agree with what Zak had to say in his letter? Let us know in the comments section below. And as always, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't.